Hi guys, so in today's video, I'm going to be doing an unpopular opinions video, but a K-pop version. So I have a lot of opinions to get through, so let's just get started. Okay, so I want to make a disclaimer. If you like the groups or the companies that I'm talking about in this video, just know that I'm not trying to insult your favorite artist. These are just my opinions, and you guys can have different opinions, and those are valid too. Don't take what I'm saying to heart. I like all these groups. I think they're really talented. This is no hate. This is just my opinion. So yeah. Number 1. SM's downfall is due to their weird and inconsistent concepts. So in my opinion, SM's management or handling of NCT has been really weird since the beginning. It feels like to me that they didn't have this planned out. So when NCT 127 debuted, it was 7 people, right? Why didn't they make that 9 people to begin with if they're just going to add members? Or what about NCT Dream? Realistically, did they think that concept was going to work and that people were going to be okay with Mark graduating or members graduating? So what I'm trying to say is that they should have kept the groups consistent. NCT 127 should have been 9 members, NCT Dream should have been 7 members, and NCTU should have been left just for collaborations between the groups. And obviously Wavy came later, and I understand that, but it feels like they're just like, oh, let me just move like this. It's confusing, and honestly, the concept of NCT is already a lot to handle, and by them just mixing and matching members, it just makes it even worse and harder for people to understand, if that makes sense. So my first point, I'm also sort of talking about aespa. I wish they had just made a group and then left the AI concept behind, or maybe just sort of incorporated it. I know that the AI is not super involved so far, but I feel like they're just gonna amp it up as time goes on. And I've seen a lot of other people feel the same way, people saying, imagine training for whatever, how many years and being replaced by a cartoon. I really don't know how I feel about aespa, so I'm just gonna move on. Okay, my second opinion, please don't cancel me. Twice are great dancers, but they lack solid singers. So Twice are idols, and that is singing and dancing. It's not just singing or dancing. They're great dancers, don't get me wrong, but in terms of singing, I feel like they lack a bit. The problem is also exacerbated by the fact that all their songs are in such a high key that even if you had good singers that had lower voices, it's hard for them to reach that pitch or that level. So then they're labeled as bad singers. I actually don't know a lot of Twice's singing ability because their pitch is so high that only 2 members can really reach it. So in a way, I wish JYP would just lower the pitch or whatever a bit so we could honestly get more than just 2 singers and then the rest are dancers. That's kind of what it feels like to me, and I wish that all members got a chance to sing. This might be controversial. Super M should not have debuted in 2019 or maybe at all. So obviously SM couldn't have predicted the coronavirus, but in retrospect, 2019 was a terrible year to debut a group that was specifically targeted towards international audiences. Also, Super M as a concept is sort of difficult and tricky because fans of EXO or SHINee or NCT don't really like Super M. I feel especially EXO fans, because they want EXO promotions and instead they're getting Super M. It's just really tricky, and honestly, I could make a whole video about it, and I'm actually considering doing that. So yeah. I don't understand the hype around Weeklies After School. I like the song, don't get me wrong, but it's not amazing. I think it has to do with the dance being so catchy. I know there's been a lot of comparison between ASAP by Stacey and Weekly by After School. Personally, I'm team ASAP, but I understand if you're team After School. I totally respect that, just difference in music taste. Okay, so next one. And Hyphen is one of the worst K-pop group names I've ever heard. So I never actually watched their reality show. I don't even know what it's called. So when I saw the name after the reality show, I thought it was in hyphen, like the punctuation mark. which that is also a bad name, but to make it in Hyphen somehow makes it worse. I don't know how, but it makes it worse. I actually really like their latest song, so it's kind of a shame that their name is so shitty because every time I read it, it makes me laugh. Big hit or hype did TXT Dirty by debuting another boy group almost right after them. So again, I'm not a fan of Hyphen, and I'm also not a fan of Tomorrow X Together, TXT. But like objectively, I found it weird that they debuted a group pretty much a year and a half after they debuted TXT. And I know that they're technically under different companies, but in the public's eye, they're essentially almost like a big hit group. Also, they did TXT Dirty because TXT did not get a reality show or whatever, this competition show, but Hyphen did. So the Korean public got like time to like meet these kids, you know, get to know them, like them, vote for them, versus TXT, it was just like, here you go. Like, that's it. Okay, so next one, and this might be controversial. SM objectively has more talented singers than other big companies. So it's not that other companies don't have talented singers, but if we were to like add them all up, SM would, in my opinion, have the most. But again, JYP, Big Hit, YG, they have talented singers. I just feel like SM has more. And also I would say they're more well known for their singers versus YG's like rappers. And honestly, I feel like lately JYP has been killing like the dances. So maybe that's like a thing. I don't know. NCT title tracks are sometimes hard to listen to. I really like NCT. I have an affinity for two SM boy groups. I like literally just can't help it, but it's hard for me to, like, I wouldn't put an NCT song most likely on my Spotify playlist because it's just not something I would listen to. It's not just NCT I feel this way about. It's kind of Stray Kids too. I like Stray Kids, kind of, but I don't think I would like listen to that music. But again, that's just my music taste, and I'm sure a lot of people like NCT and Stray Kids music. Okay, so this next opinion is probably not unpopular, but here it is. So it's, there are too many groups and too many companies. K-pop is oversaturated. Again, this is probably not unpopular. It just feels like literally every week there's a new group, and it's really sad because in reality, a lot of those groups are never going to reach high levels of success. Okay, so this next one is extremely biased. I can't help it. I have to put one out there, you know. Boys are criminally underrated internationally.
Did I lie? Did I lie? Did I fucking lie?
So, if you didn't know, which I don't know why you would know, I never said this, but the Boys are my favorite K-pop group. They're probably the only really K-pop group that I'm really into. So within the past year or so, they've become pretty popular like domestically, but not as much internationally. And you kind of saw that through Kingdom. And I just feel like they should be more popular internationally. And I hope they go on tour because they literally have like 3 English-speaking members. It'd be so easy. And I hate the coronavirus, and they should go on tour. Thanks! The visual position should not be a thing. I don't think this is an unpopular opinion because I've heard other people say this, but I definitely agree with that. Kind of a bit tricky because really you can train anyone to dance. Like, it's possible. And honestly, you can train a lot of people to sing as well. So there's nothing necessarily wrong with like scouting a really good looking person and then like learning to dance or sing. It's just when they debut and they're the visual position and they really aren't talented in anything else, it feels like this isn't like a fashion show. I don't know. I think a lot of people feel that way though too. Okay, I'm really scared of the ARMY. Please don't cancel me and send me death threats. I liked BTS since 2013. I was there from the beginning. I remember when they debuted. Please don't cancel me. I used to be an ARMY, whatever. Peace and love. Okay. BTS should release a Korean song. I actually don't know if this is an unpopular opinion. I've seen other people say this. I'm not a fan really of their English songs. They're just not for me. They're not the type of music I would listen to. And also, not that they have to be like fluent English speakers or anything, but it is sort of kind of hard to understand what they're saying a lot of the times. And honestly, K-pop for me, and I know for a lot of people, it's not necessarily always about the lyrics. It's just about how the music sounds. So it's not a big deal if K-pop is in Korean. I kind of wish it just stayed that way. I don't know. Don't cancel me. Thanks. Okay, next unpopular opinion. Kingdom was formatted way worse than Road to Kingdom. I actually watched both Road to Kingdom and Kingdom. Road to Kingdom I was definitely way more into, but I didn't know any of the groups going in besides maybe Pentagon, but I wasn't really into them. Kingdom, I knew all the groups, and it was definitely formatted really differently. So if you watched both, you would know that the voting was definitely really different. So as you know, the global vote had a lot of weight to it during the competition. So if you're popular, like if you have a lot of fans, you're gonna get the most votes. And also, there was a percentage for YouTube views. And again, if you're popular, you're gonna get more views. Like Stray Kids and iKON specifically pretty much consistently got double or triple the amount of views than someone like B2B, The Boys, SF9. I can't imagine being in the position that they were in, but like I remember during the episode where they chose their teammates, it was the group that had the number one ranking that got to choose the groups that they wanted to partner with. In that way, it also feels like a popularity contest. I can't imagine just not being picked by your peers. I would feel really bad, and I'm sure they did as well. In Road to Kingdom, it was random, so they like picked the teams like randomly to be matched together, and I sort of liked it better that way. Honestly, I would have been fine if they didn't have collab stages. Don't get me wrong, I like collab stages. I just wish they had done them, but those collab stages didn't contribute to the final like count or vote. Like they were just for fun and they weren't part of the competition, if you know what I'm saying. I hope that makes sense. K-pop artists that are a part of groups should have more solo projects and should be allowed to release solo songs earlier in their careers. So this opinion sort of stemmed from Joy's recent solo debut. Also Wendy's as well. So in comparison to a group like Blackpink, Jennie had her solo debut in 2018, and Blackpink debuted in 2016, I think. Versus Red Velvet, they debuted in 2014, 2 years before, and Wendy and Joy are just having their solo debuts. So it just feels almost like a bit late. And it's not that Red Velvet's not popular, because they are. I just wish that they had their solo debuts when they were more popular. Again, I'm not saying they're not popular, but imagine if they had their solo debuts after Bad Boy or closer to when Psycho came out. I just think that would have been better. And I can't imagine being a K-pop artist and being a part of this group and wanting to release music and prove who you are individually and just not being able to do that. That would suck. And also I feel like it's a little bit of an SM thing. Even for Kai, I feel like his solo debut should have been years ago, not now, when he's right before he's about to enlist. Or even Baekhyun, you gave him a comeback and then he enlisted. And this was only his third solo song. So what is with that, SM? Maybe I'm just critiquing SM. Okay, this one's kind of funny. YG's new building is stupid. This could be said about a lot of the buildings, honestly. They're just so over, they're gaudy. They're that's so unnecessary. It's like a department store, an amusement park. It just feels like too much. I don't know. SM does not plan their artists' comebacks well. That's T. So what I mean by that is a lot of the times their artists' comebacks overlap a lot. And I know with SM, they just have honestly a shit ton of artists. It almost feels like all of their groups stay with them after their contracts end, they renew their contracts. So I know it would be hard to time that. But even in the past month, it was what was it? It was NCT, and then it was aespa, and then it was Taemin, and then it was, who else? EXO, and then it was it's just like too much. Like they're overlapping. They're like competing with each other on shows, and it's just not great, if you know what I mean. I'm not saying they should be like YG and like never give their artists comebacks. I'm just saying it'd be nice if they like kind of space them out if possible. aespa's outfits during the Black Mamba era were some of the worst outfits I've ever seen in K-pop. So let's talk aespa's stylists. What the fuck were you thinking? I genuinely only liked 2 of their stage outfits. All the rest were absolutely terrible. The only ones that I liked were I think it was like the spray paint looking ones, and this other one I'll put pictures in. All the other ones were trash and ugly, especially their award show outfits. I don't know what award show it was, but I will include pictures. Those are some of the ugliest outfits I've ever seen. It looks like someone glued them together, like hot glued them together. Like I could have made those outfits, and I know nothing about sewing. I just honestly feel bad for them because SM is doing them dirty. And I want their outfits to be pretty. That's why I love live stages and I like watch them, is because I want to see their outfits and like them dancing in their outfit. So unfortunately, this is the last one. Y'all are weird for critiquing people's dance cover videos. So recently I've been watching a lot of dance cover videos and I really enjoy them. Like, especially the people in Australia, they're like killing it. So what I mean by dance covers, it's like a group of people that are like covering a K-pop song. You guys know what I mean. So when I watch the videos, let's say there's a group that's not necessarily like the best dancers ever, like they're not in sync. I think in my head like, oh, they're not in sync. I don't go and comment that on their video. Or let's say I think, oh, maybe they're not putting like going full on or whatever. I don't comment, oh, you guys are lazy, or like you guys need to put in a little bit more effort. Like, why would I do that? They're literally giving us this free content. No one asked them to do this. No one's paying them to do this. They're not K-pop groups. We don't have the right to critique them. It's honestly weird because if you look in the comments of a lot of the videos, it's like, oh, well, you could have done this better. You could have done this better. Like, no. Who are you to be critiquing these people? Why don't you go in public, a really brave thing to do, and cover K-pop dances? Yeah, exactly. I highly doubt you would do that. So there is the possibility that these dance cover groups want critiques or like helpful criticism, but they didn't ask, so don't give it. So that was it for the video. I hope you guys liked my unpopular opinions, and I hope you guys don't cancel me. I'm very scared of being canceled by K-pop fans. I know how passionate you guys are. As one of them, I know. So let me know if you guys like this type of video, and yeah, follow me on my social media, subscribe, like this video, comment, and I'll see you in the next one. So bye.